And first of all, I'd like to say, of course, thank you to everyone who is watching now and interested in what we do. And I hope that I can, of course, have a talk with you afterwards as well during the Q&A. Today, I was invited to present a very specific use case we work within, and that is service and repair industry, where we look at how does the services we offer to the market reshape the interactions between the players in the market. Before I go into more details, I would like to present a bit about who am I, of course, and why I think I'm a relevant speaker. First of all, I worked within tech companies for the past 8 years. I co-founded OBI Plus in 2017, and it is the first time I actually work within the automotive industry, which was a very interesting experience, or it has been a very interesting experience so far. My industry or my background is within the industrial Internet of Things, so I do understand the technologies we talk about, but the use cases is completely different. And what I did right away when we founded the company is basically I spent about 6 months talking to different garage owners, different dealership owners, different personnel around it. And even today, I am visiting about 20 to 30 repair shops on a quarterly basis. And that could be, of course, existing partners or new potential customers we work with, in order to find out how can connected data or connected car data provide them with new ways of improving the business. As OBI Plus, what we do is that we're providing a cloud-based application platform enabling connected car services. We are based in Denmark, but generally we work on a European scale, collaborating with different partners. Today I'm going to focus mostly on the business in Denmark, as it has been something we of course have been developing first and working with that market for 3.5 years. What we do as a main value proposition, or as a main value proposition to the customer, what we offer is that the partners can expand their service portfolio quickly and cost effectively by using applications that we provide. And when I say quickly, I mean basically with the login and password, a garage, a leasing company, or a fleet manager can just start using data and applications right away. To give you a really, in a nutshell, the story is that we are focusing specifically on the application layer, or an application platform and applications running in front of the customers all the time. And what we do is we interface to vehicle and non-vehicle data. And vehicle data could be, as we heard in the morning, different OEM connectivity, but also it could be retrofit hardware of these, for example, different type of hardware products that have been placed on the market to connect to a car and get some kind of data out of it. And we also interface to live and static data services. Live data services are providers that, of course, can give us data right away, data in, as you can say, as close as possible to the real time we can get it, or the different frequencies we can get it. And static data is, for example, number plate information for different nations. It could be technical data and so forth. And why we connect to all of these or interface with these data sources is that we facilitate these multiple data sources. We normalize and standardize the data in order to provide the ready-to-use applications. So combining the different data sources, we have the raw data, and then we enhance it, of course, depending on the use case. For example, in a service and repair industry, that would mean that we connect also to technical data providers that can give us information about schematics or wireframes or different translations of codes or whatever. And what we really focus on is the ready-to-use services. That is a suite of web and mobile applications that are available off the shelves for the different use cases we have today. The real focus is that we can manage to provide a seamless experience for the partners, no matter which verticals they are within right now, or a vertical that they would like to penetrate. And when I say partners, today we work within service and repair quite a lot. They're talking with repair shops and dealerships, for example, leasing companies, or fleet management. All of these require a different, a better, more efficient way to get data in order to get in front of the customer or improve their processes or whatever. And today, of course, I'll suggest that I should present one specific use case, and that it would be mostly the use case within repair shops. In order to do that, I'm using one of the personas we use here in the team, and you can meet John. John is a mechanic and an owner of a garage for the past 20 years. He has been running the business successfully, but recently, less and less customers are coming back to the shop, and he's wondering why. With all of these new technologies, available data, digital services, and so forth, he's really unsure about the future of his business. On the other end, I would like you to meet Emma, who is also a persona within a type of user or a customer that we have using some of our applications. She has been an owner of a car for 5 years, but she doesn't really know anything about cars. Every time she has to do something about the car, she feels helpless. Is it really necessary to do it? Is it safe to drive if there is some issue? Can she find a trusted service provider, book a time, or communicate in some way that is sufficient for her? So these are the type of profiles that currently we work with in our approach to our market. We try to investigate what do people need and what can we help with by improving the experience when we use data. So what we have, or if I summarize it, what we found out is that vehicle users want online dominated experience, minimal efforts on vehicle related tasks, and an easy overview of the vehicle ownership. Unfortunately, what they're met with on the market today is a complete mismatch. So the workshops or their service partners actually continue to run offline businesses using no digital tools or very limited number of tools and channels to communicate with customers. Always are the last one to hear about what customers need and wait for the customer to take all the first steps in order to come to them. And that has been how the industry is running for most of it today, and that's most of what the people experience. And we are here to change that within the service and repair industry, and we have been working on that within that segment for about 2.5 years extensively in order to make sure that this mismatch does not exist anymore when it comes to our partners. What we say to them is there is no way to go but digital. You have to use data, and you have to communicate with the customer in an efficient way and a convenient way for the customer. And specifically, if we talk about how we do it, is we provide a suite of services called vehicle care, where, for example, a repair shop owner or a mechanic can have access to remote monitoring and monitor different types of data. In really basic terms, they can manage customers and the vehicles from this portal. They can supervise the vehicles and be notified in case something happens remotely and at the right time. And then on top of that, we help them expand their portfolio by offering end-user services. And for example, that could be that if a garage would like to have a business customer connected to them, they can give them a fleet management solution that they can use. Or if they would like a private person or individual customer to be connected, they can give them access to a mobile application. All of that available with a single login and password, and every of our partners can start basically tomorrow. What's kind of the clear statement when it comes to vehicle data is that the service and repair industry has never been closer to a vehicle than now, never before. And furthermore, it have never been closer to the customer. In a survey on a European scale in 2016 done by the FIA, one of the top priorities when it comes to sharing data and options that customers select, more than 85%, of the customers select that they're comfortable sharing data relevant to repair shops. That could be diagnostic data, that could be data about warnings or fluids or mileage or whatever. They really believe that they can benefit from it. So the question is, let's make the market or the service provider catch up and deliver what they need. Today in Denmark, we work with more than 250 workshops around the country that are using our applications in order to be closer to the customer and closer to the vehicle. And what I can share right now, a bit more into the topic itself, is some of the learnings that we have had throughout our experience on the market. First of all, we look at the opportunities. There clearly, after 2.5 years working extensively within the segment, we have managed to map some of the opportunities on the market. And one of the major opportunity and pain also at the same time that we can solve for a garage or for a repair shop is to increase the customer retention. Many, as I mentioned, our persona, John, for example, many really have these issues that they're losing customers that they believe they're loyal to something. They're not sure why or what. It could be that they purchase a new vehicle that is connected and now it's somehow connected to some service provider than themselves. It could be that it's a leased vehicle or whatever. But the real question here is, can we help them increase customer retention? And throughout our experience with the market here, we really see that we can. And we do that based on the new level of convenience we can bring to customers and transparency for these customers. Because that's also what data gives. Data gives transparency for the customer about the car and educates them into what is necessary, why is it necessary, and in combination with the professional advice from their mechanics, for example, they can really understand a bit more about the cars. The next thing that is really an opportunity is that workshops can be proactive. They can contact the customers at the right time and really make it easy to choose them. Because now they would know when does the car require service, if there is an engine light on, for example, and there is a need for something to be done on the car because there is some kind of an issue with the car, and communicate with the customer at the exact moment when they need them, rather than wait for the customer to find them somehow and contact them in all possible ways that it's not convenient, and then try to figure out what happens. That leads to really an increased or improved customer experience. And today, as people, we can see that our lives have been constantly improving by using some kind of digital services for whatever, whether it's for our homes, our work, or whatever. We really increasing the expectation or the demands and expectations towards our service providers. And based on the access to data we receive, we're just wondering, okay, I have this car. It's one of the most expensive things I own or I have to pay for, and I don't really know what's happening there. And why should I do some stuff and so forth. So the transparency leads to the, in different services and different industries, leads to the need for increasing the demands from a customer perspective. Last but not least, in the service and repair industry, there is a big problem with trustworthiness. So positioning as a trusted service provider is extremely important if you want to develop a loyal customer base. And with the use of our services and the use of data from cars, they can really focus on educating the customer and increasing safety and reliability of the vehicles, and also in the convenience that they have in their daily life, of course. So until now, I try to give you a bit of intro in what we do and a bit of our experience and opportunities. But how do really data reshape the service and repair industry? The first thing that we'll look into is the shifting roles, right? I don't know if all of you managed to see my first slides, but the mismatch on the market is a key issue, and it's also something that should be treated in really lots of focus, because shifting the roles means that the garage, instead of waiting, for example, for the customer to come or to call them, they have to take the first steps and be proactive in calling customers. And that's a major shift in how the business is done today and what do people know about how business is done today. So shifting the roles is a major thing that reshapes the whole industry. And I truly believe that the industry we know today in the service and repair is going to be completely different in just a couple of years. Otherwise, the companies that don't catch up with that use case and with these, with the taking advantage of digital services, are going to struggle big time. For example, here we have I have shown a kind of a look up into one of the specific features that clearly provides this or validates this shifting in the roles. Let's say that we have a customer who is driving somewhere in a city, and the engine light is on. What happens today with the partners that work with us is that they're immediately notified that there is this engine light on, and then they can take proactively actions to reach out to the customer and explain, for example, whether it's an issue they should be taken care of right away. So basically they have to stop driving, or if it's something that is not so major and eventually it could be dealt with the next time they visit the garage. This on its own shifts the role of the garage or the mechanic, for example, as a specific profile, and also increases the expectations of the user right away, because the next time that happens, I would also expect that my garage is going to contact me again. So I wouldn't even bother maybe contacting my garage. And that leads to the next topic, which is the change in behavior in both and channels. Because as of today, most of the communication that goes with the service and repair industry is usually by phone. And as people, we're getting more and more used to the fact that we can utilize different types of communication, such as, for example, messaging or chat or whatever. And the example I mentioned about a car having a problem with the engine light, for example, and it could be a major issue, a garage can immediately notify the customer and tell them that they have to stop driving, and then they have to contact their breakdown services. And for example, through the mobile application that we have for the customer, they can immediately, at this moment, share the location of the breakdown service, where the breakdown service should go, and pick them up from. And this convenience and what we call it hassle-free experience is something that's really going to reshape the industry. Moving on the other side, when I look from the customers, and specifically if you look into the business customers, today fleet management, for example, has been something common and everybody knows it and so forth, quite a mature market, if you say so. But the access to connected car data can really shape the way they interact with the service providers. And again, instead of a fleet manager being the one taking charge of the whole coordination of service, repair, and whatever, they can just outsource that to their service partner so that they shouldn't even think about it anymore. And they shouldn't also be in conflicts, for example, with employees or with colleagues who are just driving and don't care about how the car has been driven and if there is an engine light on or whatever, because then they just take that with the service provider, who is supposed to be the one giving them the professional advice, right? Furthermore, if you look from the perspective of the single users, then we look at the fact that we are used to using our smartphones for basically everything right now. Make it easy for us, make it convenient, saving time, and you name it. And the fact, of course, here is not that you need an app for everything or something like that, but it's the fact that you can really penetrate a market that is crying for better way to communicate or to keep documentation or to request some kind of service or whatever. Because then you make it easy and convenient for the customer, and on its own, then it comes, of course, the big question whether being easy and convenient would be the price, as we know. Because most of the people today, they of course care about price, because that's the only thing we look for. Since you don't know what to look for, you look for the cheapest price. But if you are educated, if you have enough information that helps you take the right decision, then you don't necessarily look for the price right away. You look for the way that makes it easy and that gives you this peace of mind that things are taken care of, no matter what happens. So there will be lots of customers in all kind of segments that they will be happy to deal in that way, rather than wasting time and energy and being stressed whenever they occur in a situation where the problem is really as it shouldn't be. Yes, but I would say that was my last slide. Thank you very much for having me here. If you would like to connect, of course, feel free to go to the session and the Q&A. And you can also reach out to me by email.